Yesterday, an advisory committee meeting over Zoom voted 17-4 in favor of greenlighting Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine. There was one abstention. Now, plans are in the works to quickly get those first doses out to healthcare workers across the country, including right here in North Texas. Want to get straight to Cleo Green with more on the story. And Cleo, I don't think we can underscore, this is 9 months in the making. This is ridiculously fast, but it could not come soon enough.
Yeah, you're right, Mark. And this is big news here because we thought that FDA approval might take a few more days, but now it's happening this morning. So remember yesterday, a U.S. government advisory panel endorsed Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine. This was a 17-4 vote, as you said. And here was the #1 voting question. Based on the totality of scientific evidence available, do the benefits of the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine outweigh the use in individuals 16 years of age and older? Well, 17 scientists and doctors said yes, 4 said no. 1 voted to say anything, didn't vote to say anything, I should say, rather. And now we're learning that now that green light is in motion. So first U.S. shipments of Pfizer vaccine will be at about 2.9 million doses. Now, here's more that you need to know when it comes to this breaking news here. Shots will begin very soon in the coming days, depending on how quickly the FDA signs off. So we're learning it happening this morning. So the experts committee's recommendation, well, they took it full on. The government advisors concluded that the Pfizer vaccine appears safe and effective for emergency use in adults and teenagers 16 and older. And that endorsement came despite questions about allergic reactions in 2 people who received the vaccine earlier this week when Britain became the first country to begin dispensing the Pfizer-BioNTech shot. So once again this morning, we're learning that the FDA has given full approval, that green light to move forward. So we will see those shipments start to come to the U.S. and there's still a lot more to learn here, but we'll see how fast things are happening as we learn this morning. Mark, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Cleo. As I mentioned, it has been a breathtakingly fast approval process. Now, the FDA has gone through this process before. It's certainly expedited this time because development of a vaccine, that usually takes years. This one took months. Approval, that usually takes months. Here it has happened in a matter of weeks. So to help us better understand the FDA's emergency use authorization process, here's our health and wellness reporter, Sonia Azad.
The FDA's job is to evaluate products like drugs, diagnostic tests, and medical devices, and to determine whether they're safe and effective.
FDA scientists are known around the world for their expertise. We are a regulatory gold standard for the authorization or approval of medical products, including vaccines.
In the case of an emergency, like an infectious disease outbreak, like we're seeing now with COVID-19, there may be an urgent need for a solution. So the FDA can issue an emergency use authorization, or EUA, to provide more timely access to drugs, diagnostic tests, or other critical medical products.
We can act quickly, and we intend to. We understand the urgency of the situation.
Let's break down the situation with the Pfizer vaccine. At this point, Pfizer has done its own extensive testing and documenting, otherwise known as data collection. And by now you've heard they found their vaccine to be 95% effective. But the FDA can't just take a company's word for it, so they do another layer of investigation. In the last 3 weeks, hundreds of scientists have been pouring through the raw data from those 44,000 people who took part in Pfizer's clinical trials.
There are these outside experts that can look at all the information that's presented and objectively review what it shows.
And while the FDA considers what the committee says, they're not obligated to follow.
We want to make sure we make the absolute best decision for the American people.
The EUA process is different from full approval of these products because in some emergency situations, we just cannot wait for all the evidence needed for full FDA approval. Instead, the FDA evaluates options quickly using the evidence available and carefully weighs any potential risks against potential benefits to the public. With your health check, I'm Sonia Azad.
I want to make sure that you know that the scientists simply don't stop working once a decision has been made. Of course, there will be months, if not years, of follow-up studies to examine any potential long-term side effects like the ones we mentioned earlier. You can stick around for Good Morning America with much more on this historic approval and what is next in the fight against COVID-19. All right, it is now 6:36, time for your morning rush on this Friday. 853,000 Americans filed for first-time jobless benefits last week, which is an uptick of about 137,000 from the week before. The state of Texas actually showed one of the biggest decreases among states, with only 45,000 new applicants. And time is running out for challenges to the presidential election. On Monday, state electors will formally cast their votes, which of course will give Joe Biden the win. Thousands of Trump supporters, though, are expected to gather in Washington, D.C. tomorrow to protest what they see as voter fraud. And no grades for Texas schools this year. The pandemic has caused so many disturbances to learning. The Texas Education Agency says it'll hold off on those A through F ratings for now. Those are the grades they use to let you know about the quality of individual schools. Students, though, the STAR test will still take place to see if students are showing any signs of progress. And a very unique high school football title game tonight. The Texas School for the Deaf will play for the Division I six-man championship, going up against Veritas Academy out of Austin. All the players and coaches at TSD are hearing impaired. A victory would mark their first state football title in any division. Boy, this should be a great game this evening.